of stuff out. Okay. Don't ask me about this table. Okay, here's the deal. So I made a post a couple of days ago on Facebook, and I touched on a subject that is like so hugely important. I wouldn't be able to write enough or say enough about this to say everything or communicate everything I want to communicate. Like, there would just be no way. I'd have to write a book on this topic because it's so fucking huge. First, I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to do the details. This does not necessarily have to be about narcissist partners per se. This can be any kind of a partner who's abusive or is doing the wrong thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be like full-blown MPD. But this is what I want to read to you first. Sex with the narcissist and the regret that comes with it. How to turn it around. For 6,000 years, they've had us brainwashed to think that little quarter ounce of egg whites and salt water is a real power play. I'm going to tell you why it's not. I'm such a jerk. I go back and read my shit, I'm like, damn, I'm mean. He left his offering in your inner sanctum. That portal between your legs is the greatest thing in creation because I said so. Also because it is the portal between worlds. Our ancestors were very accepting of this before another concept was brought to this planet that turned everything inside out and upside fucking down. Men know its importance because they've set their whole existence around controlling it. By the way, that's called fear. Told you I'm a bitch. When a narcissistic partner does his powerful shit, he is unknowingly leaving his DNA as a humble offering in the temple of divine feminine, in the Holy of Holies, the chamber of secrets, the gates of paradise. Another good phrase is the golden lotus. This is how I want you to start seeing yourself. I'm really tempted to make a whole course on this for y'all because it's so important to see yourself this way so the narcissist no longer has that chokehold on you. He's got you thinking he runs the show every time he wastes his life force, when really, he's been giving it to you. You own his little smug pot-bellied ass. I'm so mean. Oh my god. I wasn't even drinking when I wrote this. Like, I was in my right mind when I wrote this. You own his DNA. He left it for you and doesn't even realize it because he's an idiot. You are the goddess in the temple. That is your arena, your field, your threshold. This is your circus, and you have the whip. He can't do shit except hand over what he has, which is that little spot of Elmer's. That's it. That's the best he can do. But the joke's on him because you can do whatever you want with his power now. You have the sample of his DNA. You can transmute his meager contribution into anything for yourself. Don't let sex with him upset you when you can let it empower you. Our ancestors knew. Okay. So this is going to piss off a lot of people. I don't care. That's my job. Just piss people off. Here's the deal. They have you thinking that every time they screw you or touch you or pull on your nipples and everything else they do, especially when it's in a violating way, like when you're standing in the kitchen trying to do something or you're on the phone with somebody important and they just start doing that. Every time they do that shit to you, the world has taught you, the world and everything in it has taught you that after that's been done, that there's some part of you that has like just disappeared, you know, or that they've taken a part of you with them, you know, after they walk away, or after they leave you, you know, or what have you. And that's not true. That is done to disempower you, to disconnect you from your body, and to disconnect you from your personal power and your identity and your core and the Earth Mother and everything else. All that stuff is done to take that from you and to teach you, oh, well, you know, you can't really, you know, once somebody touches you, once somebody pulls that nipple or whatever else they do. I've had that done to me a lot. That's why I mention it a lot. I don't even have big tits. I don't know what they're even reaching for real. But anyway, alas, I digress. So, but every time something like that is done, you're under the impression that you've lost some part of yourself, or that some piece of you, like a puzzle piece, is just missing, or like a gear is missing from the engine, and it's no longer functioning the same. And that's not true. You still can operate perfectly fine. You've been taught that you won't, and you've been taught that all these men have like chunks of you, all over the world or whatever, who have ever seen you naked or anything like that. And that's horseshit. So the first thing I want you to do is to remember that you are a whole person all on your own without the man. Because we've been taught that that's not the case either. They've also let us believe that, because this helps them. It makes them feel good. So that's why you believe all the shit about yourself that you believe that's not fucking true. It's not. But anyway, you've been taught that, number one, the biggest thing in your life is going to be marrying the right man. It's not. It would be having a baby, and then after that, it would be whatever else. Creating life would be the biggest thing you can do, especially if your body's physically capable of it. That would be the biggest thing, because that's your whole deal. But after that, it would be other shit. But that's just my opinion. But it's not going to be. The most important thing about you is not which man you're with, or who he is, or what he does, or what he's like. That's not the most important thing about you. The most important thing about you, and this varies depending on who you ask, but to me it means how you treat yourself, and how you treat others, and how you treat innocent people and innocent things like animals and nature, and how you treat children and shit like that. That's more, those things about you are more important than whoever's between your legs that week. So we're going to have to drop putting so much importance on which dick and balls we're dealing with at the time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They want you to see that as your ultimate, thing in your life, your ultimate thing you've built, and it's not. That's why marriage has been pushed on women for however many thousands of years, because that is where, because they benefit from it, because they've got somebody cleaning up after them, screwing them, feeding them, and making them look good in public, and doing whatever they say, and taking care of children without them have to, and all that kind of shit. They've got somebody doing all that work for them. All they have to do is just go to work and get their money and come home. And that's so what the shit you've been taught about helping them out and getting them what they need and take care of them, and not taking care of yourself, and not being selfish and shit like that. All that's got to go. And especially when it comes to your body, everything that you've been taught about your body is not only misleading, but it is done purposefully to disconnect you from it. Because the more disconnected you are from your temple, the easier you are to push around, because you don't know who the fuck you are. If you're pissed off when you're having your period, and you're miserable when you're pregnant, and you're miserable about having a baby, and you're miserable with your children, and all that other shit, you are disconnected from your very core. You're cut off from all of that, because you don't see the importance in your portal. And the things around us have been conditioned in such a way that hole between our legs has brought us more grief than it could anything else. But that's how it feels anyway. That's how life feels. I remember thinking about that when I was younger. I thought, this hole between my legs has brought me more misery than anything else. And then I had a baby, and I changed my mind. And then finally I had something that was good enough to trump all the rest of it. And then I didn't feel that way anymore. And after that, I really started changing. Like, I really started doing better, because I got more in touch with myself, and something happened after I had a baby, and I quit listening to men, and it just, I don't know what switched, but some switch was flipped in me, and I just I just quit taking shit. It's been quite the journey. But so you being out of touch with your body, and not knowing that you still have all of it no matter who fools with it or disrespects it. That is hugely important. And since they have you thinking that when they leave, they take a part of you with them, you know, either a part of your body or a part of your soul or a part of your mind or a part of your, you know, mental health or well-being or what have you. What you have to remember is that you were a whole person before they came along, and you're still a whole person. They can't take anything. There's just some man. He can't take shit from you. He can't take shit from you. You are a creatrix. You have to start seeing yourself this way. When they do their little thing and they think that they're real powerful because, like I say, they squirt the 1/4 ounce of egg whites in salt water. When they do that and they think they've really like won the war, you know, like they think they've taken over the whole world when they do that. And especially when they do it, because I've been told, oh, your shit's mine. And I've had to tell them, like, you know, not to do that, and they'll do it anyway because they own us. In their minds, they own us, and they're entitled, like they have like God-given entitlement to our bodies, and they hate us because we have the capability of at least like physically saying no with our mouths, but in the end, you know, they could just strangle us and kill us and fuck us anyway. And so apparently, according to what everybody's saying online all over the world, that seems to be like they're going fantasy. So you're going to have to quit putting so much importance on what they do, because it doesn't matter. Their opinion and their actions don't matter, and you have to quit looking at it. Just quit looking at it. Just stop. Just stop putting importance into it. I want you to just start the shit that men do, and not just narcissists, but this is anybody. This is any of them, because there's some that I've had plenty that weren't NPD who were just fucking idiots, and which is kind of the majority of them without the diagnosis. And a lot of them don't have any fucking diagnosis. They're just assholes. It's like you can't even drag them to the doctor and get anything because there's nothing wrong with them mentally. They're just jerks. But and I don't hate men, but it's the fact that it's like 80%, you know, that are acting this way, and then like the other ones who aren't the same as the rest of them don't correct the ones that are doing wrong. Well, that's where we have a problem. So, but that another saga for another time. But your body being a temple that houses the divine, I don't think you understand this. I don't think you understand the importance of this, because your body is holding a sacred space, a sacred physical manifestation of the divine source and everything, just about everything it's got to offer. And men have the same thing. They're also housing the divine. It's just that they're a lot more disconnected from it. And their way of connecting to themselves, they don't realize this, but their way of connecting to themselves is to try to connect to you, and that's by screwing you. But they are confused about that, and they're looking at it wrong. And so when they do it, they think that they're powerful after they screw you, that charges their battery. Well, it probably does. In their minds, at least, it does. Spiritually, it might, but they're so cut off from that there's no way to get in there and find out. There's no way to get into that and find out. We can't investigate that. So you just have to say fuck it and quit worrying about what they're doing, and quit worrying about trying to goddamn help them, because there's no helping them. It's like a child that doesn't want to listen. It's the same shit. It's like a teenager that won't listen, because the teenager's confused anyway. So, and you know, you just have you see what I mean? It's like looking after children. It really is. And that being your situation, you know, if that is your situation, you just have to quit worrying about what they're doing and think about yourself. And you are the source incarnate on this earthly plane in a temple. This is it. And you can do whatever you want with it. You want to get tattoos, you want to get piercings, you want to change your hair color, or you want to whatever. You can do all that stuff with it. It's your temple. You do what you want with it. But the fact that what lives inside it is something that is supporting this entire world and everything in it, you know, without very much recognition or appreciation, is something that, you know, number one, needs to be looked at, but two, I want you to see that you and your army of, you know, your fellow women are keeping this place going, even despite all of the things that are coming at us. That's violence, all different kinds of hatred from men, the domestic violence, the rape, the assaults, being followed in public, being followed home, the media telling you you're too fat, the media telling you you're too skinny, the media telling you, which group of women's got it worse. So, don't you dare feel sorry for yourself. Or whatever the fucking situation is. You've got all this shit coming at you that you don't need. It's not necessary. And still we persevere. Still. And we're still raising children. We're still going to work. We're still getting money. We're still trying to do the right thing. We're still trying to have integrity. We're still trying to stay on a good schedule. We're still trying to eat right. We're still trying to make sure our children eat right. Do the homework. Wash everybody's goddamn underwear. Take care of the car when the fucking light comes on. If we've got the money, God help us. And all this other shit, and men do not. It's safe to assume just to protect yourself. I wouldn't advise against assuming that they don't goddamn feel sorry for us. They really don't. There's too many jokes about screwing dead women and shit like that floating around. For us to hope that they might feel sorry for us enough to help us with something. So what I want you to do is turn all your power inward and start remembering that you are the source that has come down here to rectify this shit. And because you're living in the life cycle that you're living in right now, with the world being in this shape it's in right now, you're here to set a different standard and set a goal and set a different example that will go against the shit we've had so far that hasn't helped us. And that includes women who don't know what they're doing, are afraid to step up, are afraid to step into their power, are afraid to stand up for themselves, or women who don't have a role model, who didn't have a good mother or didn't have a mother at all, or women who have had nothing but abuse and they're going in circles with the abuse and they're struggling with learning from it or what have you, or recovering. There's shit going on for everybody right now, and the reason we're here is because we're here to teach everybody how to see it in a better light and how to see themselves in a better light. And with you being what you are, you've got to start appreciating that. And women aren't taught to appreciate that. We're taught to just, be what everybody else wants in the moment, whatever that may be. Just conform and perform. And that's not, we can't fuck with that anymore. We're not here to entertain. This is bullshit. Marriage is not going to be your key to survival. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do that anymore. So there's no reason to still live by that shit. If you are a goddess, and it's going to take, for some of you, it's going to take longer than others to come to this point and accept this, but I want you to understand, you are the divine housed in a physical form. You are here to make a difference. You are here to set a new standard, to trailblaze, to blast a new path through these mountains of bullshit that we're surrounded by. And it's going to be hard because you're having to go against, and you're going to have to preach against everything that's been set down so far, everything that's been laid out so far, all this shit, and men are going to hate you for it, because you're saying you're going to be saying shit to empower women. They can't stand my motherfucking ass. I know y'all have seen the stickers on my car where I'm advertising my business. It's just like a blown up thing of my business card, really, and it just says, I help women recover from narcissists, reclaim their power, and never settle for that shit again. And that's what it says on the thing on my car, on both sides, on both the driver and passenger side doors, and I got another sticker on the back window. So everybody can see me coming a mile away. And I've gotten some awful looks from men in public. I've gotten some glares, some death glares. They fucking hate it when we help each other. That being such a broad thing right now, you got to quit worrying about them. You just got to start thinking about yourself, because right now we can't save their asses. And women have got to drop this thing where you think you can help men and you can teach them and you can lead them and guide them. That's not your goddamn job anyway. They're supposed to be the ones doing the guidance and the leading and all that kind of fucking shit, and they haven't done shit. They can't even control their own nut, and they're trying to control you. And that's my phrase, thank you very much. But I mean, they can't even hold in a squirt, and they're trying to tell you what to do. You are the portal between this world and all the other ones. It happened. All that magic happens between your legs. That hole is the portal to the abyss, to the everything and to the nothing, to the all and to the nothing at one time. The void, where anything's possible. That's you. The waters of chaos, it's the amniotic fluid. I don't know why nobody's figured this out yet. I mean, I could do a whole fucking series on this shit, and maybe one day I will. I don't know. I just, if I sit down and type it all up so I can organize my thoughts, I might actually do it, to be honest with you. But it's just, this has to be said. But what I want you to understand is the violation that you feel when they touch you like that, and all of the things that go through you, that wash through you, the rage and everything else that goes through you, and wanting to just cut their heads off when they start that pension, and shit like that, and all the rest of it. I want you to turn that around, because every time they engage, think about this. You've heard all these people online, all these dusties, all these spiritual dusties talking about, oh, well, anytime you engage in somebody, in an activity or whatever, interaction with somebody, you're giving them your energy, you're giving them your power. Just don't engage, don't engage. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I call them spiritual dusties. Maybe some of them aren't, but to me, some of them sound that way. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, when he engages in you and starts fooling with you, he's got all that power. And men do have power. They do have spiritual power. They just don't know what in the goddamn fuck they're doing, and they don't care to know, which is like one of the greatest sins they can commit against themselves, which apparently they do every fucking day. I don't know, you'll have to ask them why they do it. But it's just something I've seen 10,000 million fucking billion times. So that being what we're working with, what I want you to understand is that every time he engages in you and starts poking you, pinching you, or God bless you, he gets the screw, whenever he wants. If that's your situation and he's constantly fucking bothering you, or anytime that he does, it doesn't have to be constant, but anytime he does, when he starts that shit, he is handing all his creative power to you, because you're the inner sanctum. You are the Holy of Holies, the Golden Lotus, the Gates of Paradise, all the rest of it that I fucking said, the Chamber of Secrets, like all that shit. And they'll laugh and laugh, and I don't give a fuck. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. They're laughing because they don't understand. People laugh at me all the time because they don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. Think I give a shit? Hell no. I'm still gonna fucking talk. If I'm ever murdered, I want you to know one thing. I ran my mouth to the bitter end. Don't you ever forget it. I ran my mouth until I was unresponsive. So, because I'm not going down quietly. I mean, fuck him. But, he has all that spiritual power that wells up within him. And because they don't know what they're doing, with themselves or with anything else, much less, all they can do is spend it on you, right? So they're just throwing it at you. Here's my semen. Here's all my strength. Here. Because after that thing shoots out, what does it do? What does it do? It dies. And it shrinks back to the half inch it was before. It shrinks because it dies. This is the same as any pagan culture, when things were still kind of normal, and the king of, like, how do I simplify this? let's say the king of nature, let's say in summertime, right, when everything's blooming and shit, when he gives himself to the darkness, which would be wintertime, and the seasons change, that's the dark goddess. That's going within. Everything gets quiet. You go into the void. Everything stops growing. It's a liminal point, right, where everything is getting a chance to kind of start over and hit its reset button, and then in the spring it starts to fester and wake up again, right? So when he gives himself unto the dark goddess of the wintertime, i.e., plants starting to die out and stuff like that, and animals going within in caves and underground and shit like that, the earth kind of dies, right? And everything goes into a slumber. Well, that thing goes into a slumber every time it shoots out its stuff. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you know, because you don't do that. You just have a cycle where you just keep going and keep going and keep going, and it stays that way for a long, long time. And then God bless you. God bless us both. We're gonna have menopause, and I haven't gotten that far yet, so I don't know what to tell you about it yet. But we'll figure it out together. But so once he dies and gives himself to you, that's him done. That's him finished, right? He's done. That's it. So, because let's put it this way: when you climax, you're not necessarily done screwing. You can keep going. Because it doesn't do anything. It's not. There's no depletion. Do you see what I mean? There's no depletion there. It's nothing about you dies, because that's not the point. You don't sacrifice yourself for the greater good of something bigger than you. You're not doing that, because you don't have to. Thank you very much. And him croaking after that and rolling over and going to sleep is him. He's handed you not just the spiritual energy, because that was in the creation stuff that was given to you and left in your temple, but not just that. He's given you the DNA. He's given you his physical chi energy, his life force that was swirling around in there and collecting. All that got handed off to you, because now he's just going to grunt and go to sleep, and then wake up and play video games, because he doesn't have the strength to do anything else. So that all got passed on to you. So you have that now. So now you've got you containing, you're carrying around all this creative power and stuff. Wow, what the fuck? What do I do with this now? Instead of looking at it as being violated, I want you to take control in this situation and instead say, you know what? Yeah, give me that shit, because I'm going to do something with it. And you take his power and you just start manifesting whatever the fuck you want. I said the M word, yes. I'm not one of those manifestation girls, I'm not. I say girl, I'll be 36 in 2 days. I don't. I feel like a girl, so shut up. But I do have some silver hair. You just can't see it. So I'm not necessarily the manifestation babe type. I like her, but I'm not on that track so much. I I like some of it. I like, the stuff that I have done, that I have practiced, I do like. But so if you don't want to say manifestation or whatever, you don't have to use that word if that's not your thing. It doesn't matter. You can word it for yourself however you want. But my point is, I'm trying to get to is that once he hands all that off to you, you're not going to look at this as being violated anymore. This isn't a violation of your, of your temple and your body and everything else. It's not that. You're going to collect all that shit just like you're the mafia collecting dues. And, especially, here's a fun way to look at it. I just thought of this. Especially, think of it this way. If he is part of a club who collects dues, he's on a sports team, or he's in fucking Masons, or he's in some I don't know, anything, whatever he's, or if he has a subscription to something that's real special to him, like fucking Hulu, or a video game subscription or some fucking bullshit. You know, I want you to consider yourself. This is just a fun way of looking at it, but it'll help. It sounds silly, but it'll help. At least, it could. I want you to look at yourself as being at the top of that subscription list. And you're at the top of people who collect shit from him on a regular basis in order to enjoy the benefits. But instead of him enjoying the benefits, I want you to, for once in your life, I want you to turn that power on yourself and create some shit for yourself. And I want you to take his strength that he has willingly given you, that he's so eager to give you all the time, and I want you to take that and just absorb it like a fucking amoeba. And I'm speaking from my soul here, so just you bear with me, because this is big. This is big. And that's because the reason I'm telling you this is because I went so many years, all of my adult life, I went so many years thinking to myself, oh, he used me, he took advantage of me, he used me, he got something from me, he took something from me, he took. And that is the most disempowering. That's what they want you to believe, because it leads you to hate yourself, and it's disempowering, and you're denying yourself your own power, which is what they need, because without that they can't be in control. So you have to remember that. You're taught these things for a reason. You're having these thoughts for a reason. You're having these feelings for a reason. It's because they feel good when you do that. That's the whole point. Boom, that's it. Done. Problem solved. Mystery solved. That's it. So you have to recollect all that shit. This is like, imagine yourself going outside, there's a windstorm, or one of those like little wind tornado things you can see at the park or in the parking lot, and you go out there and it's spread all your money everywhere, and you're like, oh fuck, I better go get it. And you go out there in the parking lot or wherever you are and collect every damn fucking dollar bill that you lost. Every bill, you go and get it back. And you collect that shit. And you put it back in your fucking purse. Your purse. Put it back in there. It's yours. That's yours. It's your power. Put it back in there. You put it back in there. And that's you all you're doing is recalling back all that you lost. And you can do all that through one son of a bitch. You're only doing one dude right now? Fine. Probably. Yeah, because we're more what do you call it? There's not a word for having one man, is there? Monandronous. Doesn't sound right. Because you're not monogamous. If you're doing a dude, if you're only doing one dude. I don't know. I don't have to come up with that. So there's no special word for us doing that, because that's something we do normally. That's why they don't have to come up with a separate fucking word. But anyway, so what I want you to see is that you can recollect and recall back all of your shit you've lost every time he wants to squirt, because he's squirting out his fucking life force, and he doesn't fucking know that because he's out of touch. And that being the case, he's just going to do that until he's not physically able to get up and do it anymore. And at least he's going to set out to do it until he's too old to get up and do it. And then after that, he's going to expect you to get up. So, as a pharmacy tech, I have seen some white-haired men getting Viagra. I have seen some they try to do it for as long as possible. That's that much longer that they're allowing you to collect their fucking life force. So you're going to have to turn this shit around for yourself. And the only way to do it is to just do it. Is to just start thinking this way and just start doing it this way. There's no other way. You can train yourself slowly. If you're not involved with anybody right now, that's fine. I want you to see yourself as holding on. It's still holding on to all of the life forces that you've collected thus far. And you're going to start transmuting it now. Because you still hold all that power within you. The juice is gone, it's long washed out, but the energy of it is still there. It doesn't go away. You are the divine feminine is the ocean. It's a lot of things, excuse me. One of the things that it is the ocean. And Teal Swan said it very well one time. She said, I don't support every single thing she says, but a lot of her videos, the ones I've seen, I've liked for the most part. There's some shit she said that like has really confused, really made me wonder like what's going on with her. But so I'm not gonna say she's some like perfect bitch because I don't know. I don't know enough about her as a person to be able to say that. So don't like I don't want to quote her and then turn everybody off or whatever, because it's not. I don't see her as some kind of a demigod. She just says some shit that I agree with. But she said about the feminine, and this, if you want to go back and see this video of hers, I think it was called "What Men Need to Know About Women" or something like that. One of those, some video that's like specifically about women is one of them. You just have to go look for it. But she said, women are the ocean. You throw something at them, and it sinks in. And then you just say, whoops, that just went in. And it just sinks to the bottom. It just sinks to the bottom and it doesn't go anywhere. Anything you throw into the ocean is pretty much going to stay there. It might circulate around, but it'll pretty much stay there until somebody takes it out anyway. But for you, in your case, it doesn't have to go anywhere. If you want to hang on to it and just hang on to that power and transmute it, that's your job anyway. That's another one of your many hats you've got to wear on this planet in the feminine form at this time, is to turn shit into gold. That's the whole point. You transmute shit. They're always talking about, well, a house is just a house until you get a woman in there and then it's a home. Yeah, I reckon so. Because she fucking cleans it and decorates it and makes it look like a fucking living space instead of fucking Lord of the fucking Flies. So yeah, I reckon so. But anyway, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate men. I'm just sick and tired of it, that's all. But I don't hate them. There's men I know that I like. And there's men I know who are normal. All my guy friends are perfectly fucking normal. So the men that I know in my life are fine. It's just some of these assholes out here that are really, making a name for themselves need to sit down and shut up. But, so what I want you to understand is that you, instead of feeling, and it doesn't just have to be about sex, this can be about anything. When you feel violated, when your manager says the wrong thing to you, you get fired, whatever. Somebody in public disrespects you, a family member disrespects you, your child disrespects you, or whatever. I want you to take that power that they've given you, because they're giving you their energy, right? Every time you interact with somebody, it's an exchange, isn't it? So I want you to absorb all of that shit. Just pretend it's money. Just pretend it's money. Or whatever it is that you really want right now. You can see it as, and anytime somebody interacts with you, you can see it as somebody handing you a little golden, let's say, not little, let's say a softball size golden ball. A softball size golden ball of their energy, because they chose to interact with you. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. The universe doesn't differentiate between good and bad. I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert, it doesn't know the difference. It doesn't care. It's not what it is, it's what you do with it. I'm a witch, in case no one knows. So, it's not, there's no dark magic and light magic. It's just what you do with it. But the intention behind it is what matters. I'll have to do a whole series on that. I can't get into that right now. We'll be here all day. But what I want you to see when someone interacts with you, good or bad, is they are handing you a softball, golden ball of their strength, because they just handed it to you. Because they took the time to interact with you. What about when you're on the road and some driver is like having a fucking fit because they can't get around you, or you're going too slow, when really you're going 20 miles over the speed limit. You're still going too slow, or you've corrected someone in public who was doing the wrong thing. Like for example, and I've told this story before, but it's funny, I'm gonna tell it again. One time I was going to Walmart, and it's the Walmart in Virginia Beach on Princess Anne Road, or Lynn Haven, Princess Anne Road down there. What's that intersection? I think it's down there by Home Depot or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Walmart in Virginia Beach, the only one that I know of. like the big one. Not the grocery one down the way, but I mean the big one on Princess Anne Road. Anyway, so I was at that Walmart, and I was getting shoes or something. And I was coming on the road that's like right in front of the store where those crosswalks are and everybody's walking up into the doors. And there was some stupid guy with his 2-year-old. This kid couldn't have been any more than 2 years old, I swear to God. The 2-year-old was like 10 feet behind him on the crosswalk behind him, struggling to keep up because the man was like barreling, you know, because he was on a mission and didn't fucking care about anything else, not even his own offspring. And the 2-year-old it was all he could do to keep up. And Virginia, if you've ever lived in Virginia fucking Beach, I learned how to drive there, so I can drive on fucking Mars if I had to, but the drivers there will kill you because it's people from everywhere else, and that's never a good thing. That really, because you can't have a foundation of expectations there, everything gets real fucked up. So it's people from everywhere else, and they get there and they just try to kill each other on the road. And I'm like one of the few people that is willing to piss everybody off and just follow the rules. And I piss off a lot of people there, and I still do. It's just not as bad here in Alabama, but not in Pell City anyway. You go to Birmingham, forget it. Birmingham is run by the same people that run Virginia Beach. That's all I'm going to say. So this kid is trying his best to keep up with the father, the so-called father, getting into the store. And I noticed it, and I parked my car. And then I got in the store. So by the time I got in the store, the dad was sort of like half-assed looking around for the kid. Because he wasn't holding his goddamn fucking hand. And he looked around, and then he was like, oh. And grabbed his hand. And I said, you may want to hold his hand, that's how they disappear. And he laughed and said, huh, yeah, I know, right? And I said, it's not funny, that's how they disappear. Before I got that sentence out of my mouth, he was cussing me so bad, he could have just absolutely exploded. I thought this guy was just going to chase me down. He could have just followed me home. He was so mad. Like, he was fucking fuming. Because I told him, that's not funny, that's how they disappear. That is how you lose them, and she's never going to forgive you for that, and she'll kill you. So, I wanted to say that, but I didn't. But I did say, that's not funny, that's how they disappear. And he was just ready to just, like, drain me of all my blood. So, I got my fucking shoes. It's for some job I had at the time. I had to get tennis shoes. Or some kind of work shoes. I got up in line. I was waiting. And I, had to get to work. So, I was on my way there. And time was getting kind of close, so I was like, and the line was growing, and I was like, shit. I mean, the lady in front of me had like a shit ton of stuff, and I was like, fuck. So I looked over at the self-checkout section, and I was trying to decide if I had more of a chance of getting out faster if I just went over there. Well, mark me, when I looked that way, out of the corner of my fucking eye, I saw my friend, my buddy, with the 2-year-old, God bless him, sitting in the buggy where he's supposed to. But he was right behind me in line, waiting to get his stuff. That guy made a fucking point of following me for however long in the store when I was going to get because after I interacted with him, I forgot about it and started thinking about other shit. Because I was there to buy something and just go and like carry on with my day. But because I had let it go after that, after correcting him, and then I just like minded my own goddamn business after that. And the reason I barged in the first place is because I'm a child safety advocate, and I take it very seriously. So if I see somebody putting a child in danger in public, you better fucking believe I'm going to say something. I don't care who you are. I don't care. So, but I wasn't afraid of him. And I said what I needed to say, and then I went and got my fucking shoes and got in line. Well, apparently, the whole time I was fucking around that store, he followed me, and he was right up my fucking sphincter while I was standing there in line waiting to get my goddamn shoes. So when I looked over and saw him behind me, I was like, whatever, man. And I think eventually I did go over the self-checkout because it was faster, because the lady in front of me had a bunch of shit, and she was really fucking around. I was like, no, I don't have time for this. So I got my fucking shoes and left. For some reason, he didn't follow me after that, because he was already, like, in line or whatever. I guess he'd given up. But when I noticed him out of the corner of my eye behind me like that, the crowning feature of the entire thing was the fact that he had a huge grin on his face. Huge grin. when I turned like that, because I didn't make eye contact with him. I didn't like look at him, but I saw him out of the corner of my eye and I knew who it was. I'm not stupid. Like, I saw you 10 minutes ago. I remember you. So I knew he was there. I just didn't look at him, and I sure as fuck didn't engage. But I saw just the teeth. I was like, I thought, whatever, man, fuck this. I gotta get out of here because I gotta fucking be at work 11 o'clock. And I went to the other line, got my shoes, and left. But what I'm trying to tell you is that guy, first of all, what he did was wrong because what he did was wrong. The kid has no chance of survival with him. And if the mother knew half of what went on, she would have strangled him. But the fact that he was so pissed off afterwards, after being corrected by another adult, especially a woman, that's the worst part. But him being corrected sent him through the roof. It sent him so far out of orbit that it just ate him up alive, I guess. That's how he acted. Like, he was just, couldn't let go. He probably still tells that story to this day with like the same amount of emotion he had that day. So, but his interaction with me, all he did was give up his anger to me. He handed me all of that by engaging. See, what he could have done was, after I corrected him like that, I said, that's not funny, that's how they disappear. He could have just told me to fuck off and then turned his back and walked away and commenced with his own shopping and bought something for the kid and minded his own business, got out of there. But because he was so wrapped up in what I had to say, and so wrapped up in because I had really hooked him with that. I wasn't trying to, but he was hooked on me after that. So I just did my amoeba thing, and I just absorbed his energy and was like, well, whatever, I'll just use this power later today. Fine. And I went about my goddamn day, and I mean, do you see anything wrong with my life now? No. I live in peace. I have a very peaceful life. Like, I don't have, no. I have a few friends who I'm very close to that I always get along with. I have my clients that I talk to. I have my relatives I talk to. I socialize just enough to be able to say I've done it. And I read a lot and I study a lot, and I do my content and my videos for y'all. I like to sew. I like to do my belly dance and my yoga. And I like to watch my British shows and my Irish TV shows and Scottish stuff, and then that's it. That's my life. I don't, and then I take my son out when he wants to go out and stuff like that, and we do fun shit together. But I mean, like, that's it. I don't have bullshit in my life. I really don't. Because I could go live and then just like have the fun with me all day long and just carry y'all around and show y'all everything I do and how fucking quiet my life is. And goddamn it, I prefer it. This is fantastic. This is the way I live now is the best I've ever lived. This is the best I've ever lived. The only exception would be I don't have dad anymore, but I mean, besides that, this is besides how happy I was when I was a kid, or the summertime anyway, not in school. But this is the best I've ever lived. So I'm fine. After all the people that have been angry at me or gotten their feelings hurt because I pointed something out, which is my job, which is going to be my next video. If you choose not to transmute that energy and that strength and that power into something you can use it for, then I don't even know what the fuck you're doing. What's the point of thought if you can't create with it? What's the point of life force if you can't create with it? See, people get pissed off at you, and y'all argue and shit like that, and you're just in a rage, and you're sitting there feeling violated and feeling left out and feeling like you've had your boundaries crossed and feeling defeated. Well, really, you need to just turn that inside out. I don't know if this is like Luciferian philosophy or what. I don't know what category this falls under. I just know that this is what I do. And it'd be worth it to find out, though. I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't do labels and stuff, and I'm not good with that. I just do me, and I see everyone else the same way. Like, I I don't try to squeeze people into labels and categories and stuff, because that's real limiting, and I don't like limits. So I don't have a way of telling you like what my philosophy is or what it falls under or whatever. That's not how I operate. So, but what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you can transmute all of that shit and turn it into good for yourself. And I'm sorry if the topic of this video was misleading. It's not. There's more to it than that. So I have to really, you know, there's a lot that has to be covered in this topic. So it's, you know, the video I've mentioned more things than I originally intended, but these are things that you can use in all parts of your life, not just physical stuff. And so when somebody touches you the wrong way or engages with you in that way, instead of being the old you who would be pissed off and hurt and feeling used and feeling defeated, etc., you don't have to feel that way. Instead, like I say, just collect that power and just turn it into something for you. Take that strength and put it towards whatever you want, something you want to create. You're working on your own business right now. You got to do something for somebody. You got to socialize, and you need the energy for it. You got to come through for your children. You know, you got a funeral to go to, and you got to have the strength to go. You know, whatever it is that's going to be demanding of you, or something that is going to demand a lot of strength or power from you, I want you to use everything that everybody has ever thrown at you and just build on it, and just use that as building blocks. And because as a woman, you are here to transform, and to transform not just yourself, but anything that is thrown your way, to transmute that shit and turn it into something that you can use, something useful. You know, people who don't know how to sew can look at, you know, a ball of twine and just say, well, hell, this is just, or a ball of yarn or something like that. Just say, oh, this is just a fucking ball of yarn. Give it to the cat. And the cat can play with it, sure, you know, make a mess with it and everything. That's all fine and well. But if you give it to somebody who knows how to fucking knit, they can turn it into whatever, anything. So that's what you're doing. You know, and that's how I want you to look at things. So I think I've said everything I want to say for this video. I may go into deeper detail about this later on. I don't know yet. I'll have to organize my thoughts on that. But that's how I want you to look at it, because I spent so much of my life thinking to myself, you know, oh, they took so much from me. They took this from me. They took my identity. They took my essence. They took my whatever, my personal power, my everything. They took everything about me. And that's not true. That's never true. They didn't take shit from you. They gave to you. It's just that you've been taught not to use that, because that would make you too powerful. God knew I'd be too powerful if I could do math. So I'm not good at math. That'd be too much. That'd be way too much. Like, the world wouldn't be able to handle that. No way. So, you know, but that's I'm just kidding. I can do some math. I can do the stuff that matters. I'm gonna put it that way. I can do the shit that matters. The shit that I don't give a goddamn about finding the sides of a triangle. I'll put it that way. I don't care about that. When have I ever had to use that? Never. So, I hope that this video has put things in perspective for you and given you a new outlook on how to look at your body. And I think I'll probably do a part 2. I think it merits a part 2. I may do that. I just got to think about what I'm going to say. But I want you to see your body as something that is just a storehouse of vibration that can be used for anything you want. Anything you want. And all of these energy exchanges, I want you to see, before you exchange yours into something else, I want you to see yourself as doing the amoeba thing or the ocean thing, and stuff just gets thrown in and it just absorbs it. Thanks. That's mine now. It's like taking money from somebody, you know what I mean? Thanks. That's mine now. Yes, that's mine. Yes, absolutely. And just start really, you know, giving yourself your power back. That's all you have to do, is just give yourself your power back. If you have to start in little ways, then start little. You know what I mean? But for those of you who are, on a different level, and you've for lack of a better way to put it, for the sake of clarity, for those of you who have come farther, or are more like on my level, on my frequency that I'm talking about, it's you seeing yourself as the divine feminine in this house. Like, this is God's house. It's right here. And anything that goes in is fucking yours. Just like the food you eat is yours. You transmute that, don't you? You get your nutrients from that and you shit out what you don't need. Well, why can't you do that with all the rest of it? So, take in all the energy that is thrown at you, absorb it, and just turn it into whatever the fuck you want. And change the way you see your body, and change your thought processes, and change your approach to your life. And anybody who gets mad at you or gives you a lot of their energy, or whatever, and is really like throwing it at you, just absorb it. Let them be mad. Let them be mad. So fucking what? And not just men, but anybody. Because there's women who don't know what they're doing. Obviously, that's why they're so fucking powerless. There's plenty of women who don't know what they're doing. They're going to get mad at you for one reason or another because you're, making them feel like they can't be as good as you or whatever, and that they're powerless, and they're worried about you doing better than them or getting more attention from men or whatever the fuck. If they're on that vibe and they get mad at you, take that power too. So what? They've handed you that. They've handed you that. You may as well. Shit. They're giving it to you. So, just like the earth, replenishes every year, no matter what. You put things in it, and it just soaks things up. It just soaks it up, even the bad stuff. And then later on, it'll turn around and do floods and avalanches and mudslides and shit like that to get your attention, to get you to stop putting the bad stuff in there. So, like, either way, it's going to turn into something bigger to get people's attention one way or another. Do you see what I mean? So keep those things in mind, like these things in nature. Keep that shit in mind when somebody is just like handing shit to you, their life force, because that's exactly what they're doing. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for stopping by. And thanks for listening, and I hope that helps. Thank you.